I have to test this theory, but I do feel like that's why a lot of marriages end, because family units are so isolated and they don't have other sources of excitement, and one person cannot fulfill every single need. Objectively, that is just not true. You need people who show you different worlds, and you can do that together. And instead of getting bored of one another and getting bored of the relationship, get bored together and go explore the world together, and have these other alchemical sources of rapture through other people.
Welcome to Manosphere Highlights Daily. Let me be clear right out the gate. This is not a diss video. I repeat, this is not a diss video. We're talking about a content creator who's as transparent as they come, a self-proclaimed slut. Her words, not mine. Don't believe me?
Once again, coming as a self-proclaimed slut, this feels really fun and exciting to learn. I have always been really excited about sexual exploration. I had my first threesome when I was 13 years old. It was really fun and hot and beautiful. And then years later, I had another one with this really sweet photography couple in Brooklyn. And spread throughout my life, I've had group sex with people that was really fun and excited me and felt like this juicy buildup of a thing that I wanted to lean into. My recent musings on open relationships, being a slut and now celibate, and overall just how I'm relating to sensuality and pleasure. If you want to join me.
Boom! Case closed. Now, shout out to Hitomi for keeping it 100. In a world full of gaslighting and fake personas, she's actually honest about her choices. She's not trying to sell you some "I'm a queen, treat me like a wife" fantasy while living like a TikTok baddie. She's real, and that's exactly what makes her a fascinating case study. Because just because a woman's honest doesn't mean she's wifey material. If you're the kind of guy who thinks you can change her, tame her, or turn her into a housewife, you deserve every L life throws at you. Let's break this down.
Now it's time for us to get into this and do what we gotta do. Because we many.
Thank you so much for being here. On a real note, I wanted to share some fun facts about myself to set the stage a little bit. When I was 12 years old, my nudes got sent around to the entire school, including to my brother, who was obviously upset and disgusted, and it still makes me cringe to this day. My middle school bullies regularly tried to fight me and were suspended for hate speech on my Facebook wall. One of my nicknames was Asian Whore, and the other one Hitomi. So I was the school slut. Boys would make up stories about me that everyone would just believe. So any boy who wanted to prove that he was a man would just make up a story about me, and then everyone would be like, oh yeah, that checks out. And I was the person that no one wanted to be friends with because my reputation preceded me, and they would get defamed by association. Every single school had a school slut, and it is a really interesting role and archetype to play at such a young age, and one that I've been unpacking for a very long time. My first experiences with my body were so pure and loving, and I just felt such an excitement to welcome pleasure into my physical form. My first experiences relating to my body were just so wonderful and really felt like they were just between me and God, and the rapture, the curiosity, the purity, and the pleasure, all of that felt so wrapped into one. And then I left the safety of my bedroom wearing scantily clad outfits, and all of that shifted so quickly, unlearning having obligational sex, unlearning even just dressing for the male gaze, finding validation from how much male attention I was getting. That took me so many years, and living in a patriarchal society, I am still breathing that air in. It's still something that I'm working through, but I can say that when I get dressed in the morning, I'm just excited to wear things that make me feel good in my body for me, and we're gonna get into the other stuff, but that's just sort of the context.
There's an old saying, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. Well, Hitomi didn't just show one person, she showed the whole school. Let's be clear, this isn't about shaming. It's about recognizing patterns. Some women wear sluttery like it's a Girl Scout badge. They feel empowered by it. But historically, there were reasons that promiscuity was looked down on, not just because of patriarchy or oppression, but because it protected family legacy, paternity certainty, and social order. See, before Plan B and hookup culture, sleeping around had real consequences. It could leave the village, raising someone else's kid, mess up inheritance lines, destroy trust in the home, You know, actual problems. But fast forward to today, birth control, OnlyFans, TikTok thirst traps, and suddenly the same behavior that used to get you shunned gets you 1 million subs and a podcast invite. She could get exposed, go viral for all the wrong reasons, and bounce back with a growth video and applause from the internet for her bravery. And that's the point. It doesn't matter how messy it gets. If she's wired to seek chaos, drama, and validation, she'll always find a way to do it. You can't save her. You can't fix her. Believe her the first time.
Let's talk about open relationships. I have had several relationships that were open or non-monogamous, and the reason that this relationship style really worked for me was because, well, I saw my parents have a really terrible and messy relationship, and the statistics of most marriages ending in divorce led me to feel that objectively this monogamy partner style isn't working. It causes so much trauma for children, and adults stay together when they literally loathe each other, and it prevents them from living life. So let's just be a little bit more honest. This isn't a model that is going to work for everyone. And my first boyfriend in high school happened to cheat on me a lot with, I was going to use quotations, but he cheated on me by constantly sexting other people, and I would just find so many explicit photos and messages on his phone from our mutual friends and things like that. And I just remember feeling that I really didn't care that he was engaging with other people in this sexual way. I just wanted to know about it. I just didn't want him to lie about it. And I opened up that conversation with him like, this is fine, but you can just communicate with me about this. And obviously that relationship didn't end well, and communication did not happen. We were literally in high school, but it just made me feel like I actually think that this is an interesting approach. Like, I don't take it that personally if my partner is physically connecting with someone, if they're getting a desire fulfilled by someone, as long as my partner and I have a foundation of strong emotional stability and support and, you know, just spiritual intimacy. For me, that is actually really hard to find. It's very easy to be physically intimate with people, but to be spiritually naked, to be spiritually intimate, that is really rare and precious, and also something that just takes time to build.
She actually makes some solid points here. Again, I give her credit. She talks about how monogamy feels broken, how marriages fail, and how her first boyfriend cheated, and how that actually made her open to the idea of open relationships because she didn't mind the cheating. She just wanted honesty. Let that sink in. She didn't mind him cheating. She just wanted it to be transparent. And guess what? They broke up anyway. This is where the mask slips. Even in these woke, free-spirited relationships, human nature still shows up. People still get jealous, insecure. They still want someone to choose them, commit, and not leave. Because no matter how much you intellectualize open relationships, we're still wired to crave security, loyalty, exclusivity.
That was a 3-year relationship, and I got out of a about 4-year relationship. It became this thing where I started to realize that I was using open relationships as a crutch for my avoidance. Someone asking more of me, someone wanting to plan a future with me. I started to realize that I wanted all those things, but it really terrified me. Even just the idea of getting married alone terrifies me because of how many bad relationships I've seen in my life, bad marriages specifically, and I'm finding the middle ground where I still don't fully believe in creating a contract with the law that I'm going to be with someone. I would rather have a soul contract with someone where I devote to them, and I'm really excited to explore devoting and monogamy in this way where I move through that intense avoidance and just communicate like when I feel overwhelmed. The very important questions to continue asking yourself throughout an open relationship is this serving our relationship? Is this evolving us for the better? Is it bringing us closer or further apart? It is a lot of communication. It is a lot of revisiting the structure, the dynamic, fleshing out kinks. And because it's not just this set way of being like monogamy, you don't know what your objective is every single day. There are different scenarios that you may not have discussed that come up, and it does take a lot of emotional maturity. I think that you should not enter an open relationship if you don't feel comfortable admitting that you're jealous to your partner, if you are just doing it to please them, if it doesn't feel like something that excites you that you'll also benefit from, if it doesn't feel like it's furthering the plot of your shared intimacy together, then you should just be single. And that's kind of what I came to realize as well, is that You know, in the desire to explore my queerness, that's actually a journey that I have to take on my own, and that I shouldn't be in a relationship with a cis man when I'm trying to explore my queerness. You don't want to let go of someone who's so comfortable and a partner that you've loved, but you also feel like it's too soon to know if you want to marry that person, and you need time to be single out in the world. Like, you know, you want to secure this beautiful relationship that you've been forging, but also clear any doubts that you have in your head. And I feel like this does work for some people when they open up but still stay together as primary partners, and then they get the clarity that they needed. But it might just be better to fully lean into that curiosity and break up and come together if it's meant to be. And honestly, being slightly avoidant in an open relationship is also just not healthy, and I really realized that after I got out of my last one, and I just felt so, and still do feel so, committed to honoring the energy of love and not creating any more hurt, if possible, from this tendency to want to be so independent and this fear of being needed and needing people as any sort of primary attachment. That terrifies me.
Boom, right there. She's not just free, she's emotionally avoidant. She uses open relationships as a shield, not empowerment, defense mechanism. This is the emotional burnout that modern dating has become. See, marriage and monogamy didn't come from fairy tales. They came from survival, building a family, raising kids, protecting a legacy. That required structure. But now, emotion runs the show. Structure tossed in the trash. What do you get? Chaos disguised as freedom, and you can hear the mental gymnastics in her speech. She wants connection, but not responsibility. She wants love, but not sacrifice. She wants to explore, but still be chosen. She wants everything with zero consequences. This is why independence is treated like a religion by women like her, not because they're building empires, but because they refuse to depend on anyone. Because the moment she has to depend on a man, she loses the freedom to switch lanes whenever it's convenient. And that's where the tension lives.
No, like, this sucks. Like, I'm sad. Like, I want love and I deserve it.
Yeah. Whoa. Yeah, tell him.
Women today aren't miserable because men are terrible. They're miserable because they were sold a lie that you can do whatever you want with whoever you want, however you want, and still get Prince Charming in the end. It's not happening. Let's be honest. A lot of this, it's just copium. Women beg for open relationships so they can cheat guilt-free, then have a full-on meltdown when their man touches another woman. Why? Because deep down, even they know men and women aren't the same. Men always understood that life means sacrifice. You want a family? You commit. You want stability? You show up every day. It's not complicated. But the modern woman, she wants the perks of tradition with the freedom of a party girl. She wants to be a wife with single girl options, and that's why society is spiraling.
So for me right now, I'm saying I'm in a season of celibacy. I'm not really interested in having any sexual projections at me or any sexual ties that I'm not consenting to. I am not open or available to having sex at all. That's where I'm at. And even with men who are eyeing me in the gym or trying to corner me and just talk to me and hit on me, I am so clear, like, hey, actually, I'm not interested in any flirtations or romantic energy or especially a sexual gaze projected at me right now. That's where I'm at. If you want to be my friend, I could be open to that if it feels natural, but I'm not interested in anything else, and I need to be really clear about that. I'm so happy that I am able to communicate these words without any fear at this point in my life, but I genuinely feel like sex is sometimes the easiest thing you can do with people, and there are so many other fulfilling aspects of connection that you can find even in friendship. Once again, coming as a self-proclaimed slut, this feels really fun and exciting to learn. It makes sex so much better, in fact, when you have experienced other forms of intimacy together and wait to indulge in the physical act, because there's a lot less shying away. You're familiar with each other's walls, maybe even insecurities, and it is a completely different context.
Here's the twist. Now, after all that, she's celibate. Sounds empowering, right? But she gave the game away earlier when she said, sex is the easiest thing to do with people. That line alone says it all. For women, sex is a choice. For men, sex is a challenge. When a woman says it's easy, it's because she never had to earn it. She never had to build anything to get it. it was always available. Just say yes. So when sex becomes that easy, it loses value. This is why modern men don't respect free spirits. Not because of hate, but because if everything comes easy to her, what does she actually stand for? Empowerment today looks like casual sex, easy. Clubbing, easy. Posting thirst traps, easy. You know what's not easy? Discipline, loyalty, submitting to a masculine man, building a family, raising kids with purpose. And that's why she's celibate now. Not because she's had a spiritual awakening, but because she's burned out. Sex lost its meaning. The thrill is gone. Now she's pivoting, but after all the mileage.
And I'm excited to explore that right now in my life without the physical aspect. So I guess I just wanted to make this video as sort of a checkpoint of where I'm at on the continuum of knowing my body, understanding my sexual drive and where I'm moving from in the world, and also to say that love is an energy to be respected and people's hearts are so delicate. We have the opportunity to be positive forces in the world all through healing ourselves and reparenting ourselves and taking time to integrate lessons and not move from chaotic places. And I just really encourage that. I'm really inspired by that right now. Locking into your own accountability and healing and moving from a complete place of clarity. It is almost your duty for other people to grow into yourself, to feel confident in your voice, to know who you are. But those are my thoughts right now. If you have any recent ponderings, things that you're learning about celibacy, non-monogamy, I would love to know. I would love to read through the comments and just see where you're at. Where's your checkpoint? Thank you so much for having this moment of presence with me, and I hope to see you in a video soon.
See, this is what modern women really want. Freedom without judgment. Right now, it's celibacy. Tomorrow, maybe she's a mom. Or back on the open relationship wave. Maybe both. She wants the option to rewrite her identity at any time, and you're not allowed to question it. But what kind of example does that give to the next generation? To her future kids? Oh, right, we're not allowed to judge. This isn't hate, it's actually appreciation, because most women will lie to your face. But Hitomi, she told the truth. And that's why the lesson here is simple. You can respect someone's honesty without making them your wife. A woman who says sex is easy, who bounces between freedom and burnout, who lives by whatever feels good in the moment, is not someone you build with. She is proof that freedom without structure leads to emptiness. So if you still choose to wife her up, catch feelings, build a future, just remember, you weren't lied to. You ignored the truth.
Patreon supporters, salute! Man, that's where we working. Protect yourself at all times. This video has officially been highlighted.